G in mid-Cornwall. Supporters say it'll solve the county's rubbish disposal crisis. But at a public meeting tonight, protesters will claim it's a health hazard that they'll fight every step of the way.
At Roche Village Hall, the scene is being set ahead of this evening's meeting. The stage illustrates how the waste plant would dwarf the village, and a survey carried out by residents has produced conclusive results.
The response that we had was tremendous. We had 800 and something votes cast, and 92% of those votes were against the incineration plant.
The plant, similar to these in other parts of the world, would burn 150,000 tonnes of waste every year and produce electricity. But residents fear the emissions would damage their health and say it's too large a burden for one small village.
It's another strategy just to dump it in the most convenient place, and hopefully there aren't enough people to resist that sort of decision. Well, the message that we want to deliver to the county is that they've picked a tough battle, and we're going to see it through to the bitter end.
Roche is one of two sites shortlisted by County Environmental Services, the other being Indian Queens. Today, managers appeal to residents to consider all the facts.
We're holding public exhibitions in all the parishes surrounding the areas at the end of this month. Listen to what we have to say, find out about our proposals in more detail before you make your mind up.
Hundreds of residents are expected to attend tonight's meeting, which starts at 7 o'clock. Sarah Lillycrap for West Country News.
Welcome to our midweek West Country Live.
Hello, the top stories in the region tonight. The idyllic image of country life is shattered by the reality.
Villages unite to fight plans for a waste incinerator.
And there are plans to place a giant waste incinerator in a tiny Cornish village. Live now to our reporter Sarah Lillycrap, who's in Roche. Sarah, what's going on there this evening then?
Well, at the moment, as you can see, it's not exactly a hive of activity. Plenty of empty chairs behind me. In fact, all empty chairs at the moment. At the moment, the final preparations still going on here in the hall. But in fact, this is a battle that the village has been preparing itself for many, many years. And tonight, they're hoping that the residents here will actually form an action group to fight this application.
And when they all gather there a bit later on, are they going to have the people who want to build the waste-to-energy plant there as well to defend themselves?
No, we're not. County Environmental Services weren't actually invited to attend tonight. They're not too worried about that. They say later this month they're holding their own public consultation in the village, and at that point the residents can put any questions they have straight to the company. Now, in a moment we'll be talking to the chairman of the local parish council, but first this report.
It's normally the scene of village pantos, but tonight the stage at Roche Village Hall is being set for a very different kind of showdown. Residents here are furious at finding they're one of two places shortlisted to house a waste-to-energy plant, big enough to burn 150,000 tonnes of rubbish each year.
It's another strategy just to dump it in the most convenient place, and hopefully there aren't enough people to resist that sort of decision. Well, the message that we want to deliver to the county is that they've picked a tough battle, and we're going to see it through to the bitter end.
They put in the new A30 dual right around the Gossmore to avoid killing the butterflies, and this thing is bound to do that, I would think.
Campaigners claim emissions from the plant would pose a danger to health, while imposing the building on the landscape would destroy the environment. But County Environmental Services, the project's proposer, says the time has come for the people of Cornwall to accept the inevitable.
We currently rely totally on landfill. We need to start finding more sustainable ways of dealing with our waste. We need to start increasing recycling rates dramatically, but we also need to bring in energy from waste to take care of the waste that we can't recycle and that we won't be able to landfill in the future.
But a parish council survey of opinions in Roche doesn't bode well for the scheme.
The response that we had was tremendous. We had 800 and something votes cast, and 92% of those votes were against the incineration plant.
Carrying out assessments of this site and the other one shortlisted at Indian Queens could take 3 years. When the final location is chosen, protesters here say they'll be ready.
And as Sarah said, we're joined by Councillor John Wood, Chairman of Roche Parish Council, who's in the village hall. There is a problem here because Cornwall has to do something with its rubbish. It's already turned down the Mabe dump, the United Downs extension. You're just simply saying, not in our backyard either.
That had to be your first question, and a very good question it is. No, we're not NIMBYs. We're very much against one huge incinerator. This shouldn't be imposed on any one community. It's too much for any community to bear. We're saying go back again, look at the drawing board, call a moratorium, call the groups together. We have ways to go forward. Smaller units in other areas are low down on the priority list at the moment, not even being considered. We think that recycling can take off. There are so many companies in the wings waiting to come forward.
Right, so you say yes to a waste-to-energy plant, but not a big one and not near you?
No, we're not saying that at all. We're saying that some waste has to be burnt. We fully accept that, the clinical waste, hypodermic needles and that sort of thing, yes, but we're not saying energy from waste unit at all. Even Stephen Byers, the Right Honourable Stephen Byers, the Minister of Trade, has come out now and said it will not be classified as a renewable energy, therefore it will not be able to have tax advantages as do the windmills and other sources of renewable energy.
I mean, are you saying that this isn't environmentally friendly, even though it's avoiding the need for more landfill sites and producing energy from the waste?
I've already stated quite openly in public that there are so many things that Cornwall can do with its waste. I look upon a lot of waste as being a natural resource. A lot of plastics, maybe we haven't got the technology now. Are we just going to burn it and in 20 years' time when the youngsters come forward and say, hard plastics, oh, we can crack that, we've got the technology now. Oh, sorry, youngsters, we burnt it all. That, I think, is a criminal thing to do. We have open holes in the ground, we have tin mines, huge. We could store so much of these natural resources which wouldn't pollute the environment.
OK, just one final quick question. I mean, the council says you've got to face the inevitable. I mean, are you, a little village, able to stand up to the full force of the county council?
We're no longer a little village. We are getting support from all over the country and even all over the world. People are saying the time is to stand up against these incinerators. Greenpeace are behind us, Friends of the Earth behind us. The support we're getting is phenomenal. It's almost overwhelming. That maybe in a few hours' time, we won't be a little village. We will be a huge community fighting this obscenity.
John Wirt, thank you very much indeed for joining.
This is BBC One Southwest. And now Spotlight with Teresa Driscoll and Russell Labby.
Good evening and welcome to the programme.
Hello, the headlines tonight: the new waiting list crisis and plans to deal with waste in Cornwall spark protest.
Plans for a waste incineration plant at Roche in Cornwall are under fire. Villagers say the project will be detrimental to the entire county. Here's our Cornwall reporter, Eleanor Parkinson.
Cornwall produces 400,000 tonnes of rubbish every year. As the county's only 2 landfill sites fill up, the company responsible for running them has been searching for a solution. County Environmental Services want to build a giant incinerator, a waste-to-energy plant, which will burn the rubbish and at the same time produce heat and electricity. They've chosen 2 possible sites in the centre of Cornwall, one at Indian Queens and the other on fields at Roche. Tonight, Roche Parish Council is holding a public meeting. They say residents are concerned about the environmental impact.
It's the pollution from the actual stack, the pollution from traffic, vermin, etc., that are going to be attracted to this plant, the long-term effects on the whole area.
Local people say the plant will not just affect them, but will affect the whole of Cornwall.
Cornwall's a green place. It relies on tourism, it relies on visitors to bring the money in. They drive down the A30 right past a huge incinerator plant. Is it going to encourage tourism, basically?
All right, you've got a tall chimney, but it's got to come down somewhere. It's not just Roche, it's the surrounding areas. It's got to fall somewhere.
But CES say that waste-to-energy plants operate successfully all around the world. They cite examples in Japan and Germany. They say residents will be given all the information they need.
We are about to undertake public exhibitions throughout all the districts, all the parishes within the area of Indian Queens and Roche. I would urge people to come along to those public exhibitions, listen to what we have to say, find out more about the proposals that we are putting forward before they make their minds up.
But the residents say they want to see other methods of waste disposal explored more fully. They say recycling could be the answer.
And we'll be reporting from tonight's public meeting in our late news.
Fight a proposal for a waste incineration plant near their homes. More than 300 villagers at Roche in mid-Cornwall met tonight to protest against the plans from Cornwall County Council's waste company. David George reports.
More than 300 people from Roche and surrounding villages packed into the village hall for tonight's meeting. They were given a graphic idea of the scale of the proposed waste plant A giant painting compared the size of the village church to the waste incinerator. And speaker after speaker condemned the plans.
The villagers know that the people who push these ideas live outside the community and don't care about us.
What comes out of that chimney is going to seriously affect our health. We're not going to see it on a short-term basis. This is going to be about a 10 to 20-year period.
Cornwall produces 400,000 tonnes of rubbish every year, and landfill sites are filling up. CES, the company responsible for Cornwall's waste, has identified possible sites at Roche and nearby Indian Queens for the waste incinerator, which will burn the rubbish and at the same time produce heat and electricity. The company says that waste-to-energy plants operate successfully all around the world. They cite examples in Japan and Germany. They say the residents of Roche will be given all the information they need.
We are about to undertake public exhibitions throughout all the districts, all the parishes within the area of Indian Queens and Roche. I would urge people to come along to those public exhibitions, listen to what we have to say, find out more about the proposals that we are putting forward before they make their minds up.
But tonight's meeting of residents in Roche voted to start a fighting fund and form an action group to fight the plans for the incinerator.
David George reporting.
To the West Country News. Rural poverty is having a devastating Village Hall this evening to draw up battle plans against proposals for a waste incinerator near their homes. The residents believe the plant would be a danger to their health, and they're furious land near their village is one of 2 potential sites selected by County Environmental Services.
No one community should have to suffer this monstrosity, plus the fact there is no need for incineration on this scale at all.
CES says alternatives to landfill need to be found quickly. The villagers are collecting a petition and decided tonight to form an action group to fight against the proposals.